The February Revolution had toppled Tsar Nicholas II of Russia and replaced his government with the Russian Provisional Government. So why didn't Tsar flee Russia during October Revolution? In this video we explain it. Tsar Nikolai II was placed under house arrest by the Provisional Government at Tsarskoye Selo less than a week after he abdicated, on the 2nd of March 1917. He and his family thus never had a chance to flee Russia. The decision was made by the Justice Minister Alexander Kerensky and Foreign Minister Pavel Milyukov. They had three reasons for this decision. 1. Milyukov and the Cadets feared that angry mobs might storm Tsarskoye Selo and lynch the Tsar, so the arrest was to preserve his life. The Cadets had only ever wanted a constitutional monarchy, but the chaos of the February Revolution made them fear the revolution might spiral out of control into a class struggle between the propertied and propertyless classes. Their top priority was therefore to arrest the radicalization of the revolution. Point 2. Arresting the Tsar was a key demand of the newly created Petrograd Soviet, as the workers and soldiers in the capital blamed the Tsar personally for their hardships. This is unsurprising. Nikolai was an autocrat and claimed personal rule over Russia, which naturally meant he would be personally blamed for everything from atrocities. Example: the shooting of 50 protesters demanding bread and peace in Znamenskaya Square on the 26th of February 1917. To defeats in war, more than 5 million men had been killed, wounded or captured since the outbreak of World War I in 1914. The Provisional Government, as War Minister Alexander Guchkov admitted in an April letter, had no power, and was dependent on the consent of the Petrograd Soviet to rule, insofar as it controls the organs of real power: the telegraph, the railway lines, and the sympathy and support of the common soldiers. 3. The Provisional Government ministers were mostly Fourth Duma delegates committed to a vision of a liberal democratic Russia. This meant that they had to, at some point, come up with a plan to try the Tsar for his alleged crimes against the Russian people. These reasons led to Nikolai's swift arrest. He spent March to July 1917 under house arrest in Tsarskoye Selo, his personal residence 25 kilometers outside Petrograd. He was moved to the provinces after the riots of the July days, but remained under house arrest for the following year, as the Bolsheviks seized power and the civil war broke out. Both the Provisional Government and the Bolsheviks deferred making a decision on what to do with the Tsar. Vague plans to exile him or put him on trial were explored, but never seriously put into action. Both the Provisional Government and subsequent Soviet government were too preoccupied with more urgent and pressing concerns, like WW1 and food shortages. By mid-1918, the advance of Kolchak's Siberian army across the Urals forced the Bolsheviks' hand. Fearing the Tsar would be captured by counter-revolutionary forces, the Ural Regional Council ordered his execution. Lenin and the Bolsheviks weren't exactly too happy about it. They preferred to do a public trial of the Romanovs like it was done for the last French king Louis XVI, but what's done was done. Even if the Romanov family weren't under house arrest, there was still two major obstacles to them leaving Russia: Alexei's illness. The Tsarevich was pretty much incapable of surviving such a journey, and none of his family members would have been willing to sacrifice him. No country was willing to give them asylum. George V of the United Kingdom would have done it happily on a personal note, but the British government was strongly against it. In spite of their relationships with most of the European monarchies, the Romanov didn't have anyone to rely on. Of course, everyone later cried for them.